Today's story is one you simply cannot make up, or in the case of Snail Games, ARK's publisher, you can. There's stories within stories, pre-denials, post-denials, salt being thrown in the wounds of ARK faithful, community members calling it quits, AI defending AI, and even plans within even more plans. All culminating with one of the strongest community backlashes the games industry has ever seen. Now, if all that sounds intriguing to you, stay tuned because it's time to dive into the last week for the ARK franchise, which has been a whirlwind of activity. If you want to support the channel, the easiest and free way is to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell. And now it's time to dive into what in the hell has been happening with ARK. Because it's of vital importance to understand the gravity of what happened last week, we need to travel back in time with the Wayback Machine back to January 2023. Studio Wildcard CEO Jeremy Stieglitz has just dropped a veritable bombshell on the ARK faithful. ARK Survival Evolved will be moving into the present with a shift over to Unreal Engine 5, and the best part, it's a free upgrade. That fever dream came crashing to a halt just 2 months later in March 2023 with the introduction of ARK Survival Ascended and the ARK Respawn Bundle. How many of you remember that one? Now, if the short time frame and drastic changes are a little bit unnerving, get used to them when it involves Snail Games, Studio Wildcard, and ARK, because now, in March 2023, that free upgrade is completely gone. It's been replaced with a pre-order Survival Ascended ARK 2 bundle, granting players several maps and a mode at launch, along with early beta access to ARK 2, whenever that may happen, with additional cost for 2 separate map packs. And this went down about as well as a cash bar at a wedding. Get ready for it because we see another massive shift happen a week later, and more than likely in response to the community descending on Snail and Wildcard with torches and pitchforks waving. April 2023 sees the ARK Respawn bundle in combo with ARK 2 now deleted. Survival Ascended is a standalone product, releasing on all next-gen platforms in early access with 2 maps, while other canonical and community-created maps would be slowly released up until the end of 2024. They were certainly ambitious with that release calendar, and more on all of that in just a moment. Coupled with this April 2023 announcement was another veritable bombshell. Survival Ascended, which was originally pitched to be backwards compatible with Survival Evolved, would not be moving forward with that feature. Therefore, the Evolved official network would be shutting down, although you could continue on with Evolved on unofficial or hosted servers. But for those that had spent years and thousands upon thousands of hours on official servers, they would be losing everything, and that news was heartbreaking. The switch was eventually flicked off on September 30th, 2023, also sunsetting any studio support for Survival Evolved. Now, ASA, originally slated to simultaneously launch on all 3 platforms, only made it to PC for Steam accounts in late October and was slowly rolled out to Xbox and PlayStation from there. Alright, back into the Wayback Machine we go, this time coming back to the present day, and everything we just got to experience again is important for this current day context. You see these constantly and rapidly changing plans within the company. For example, free, over to an expensive combo bundle, over to a cheaper, slow release of the exact same content. You also hear and see ARK 2 briefly mentioned here and there. Snail Games is popping up from time to time, and their financial decisions constantly making waves. And from here, the list goes on. And I would gladly refer you over to my ARK playlist as I covered it all back when it happened. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, damn, that's a shitload of stuff this game has been through. But trust me, the party's just getting started as we hit last week at the GDC, or Game Developers Conference 2025. And hopefully the irony of what we're about to experience is not lost on you. Again, keep in mind when and where this happens at GDC. Enter Snail Games, ARK's publisher, who is hosting a booth at the conference where they announce ARK will be releasing a 10-year anniversary DLC as a love letter to its fans, which, oh, by the way, is paid DLC. And on top of that, Snail releases this patched up Aquatica trailer you've been watching that shows little to nothing. And frankly, the quality of this is not up to par and certainly nowhere close to what we've come to expect from Studio Wildcard and their ARK teams. Well, in one of the many surprises surrounding this past week, here's the thing. Wildcard is not responsible for this entire DLC or that subpar trailer, and in an unprecedented move, they, Wildcard, released this pre-announcement, putting the ARK community on notice, who at the time were all left wondering what in the hell ARK Aquatica was. You see, this post was made public before Snail ever gave their presentation at GDC, and for Studio Wildcard to do this, it means they really wanted everyone to know that this shitstorm that was about to come raining down, yeah, it was not on them. They were washing their hands of it, and they wanted no part of this monstrosity. Taking a quick look at the press kit that was launched in tandem with this basic and amateurish trailer, Aquatica is touted as a 10-year anniversary DLC for ARK, with new creatures, crafting challenges, and an intriguing storyline. Their words, not mine. But all of this is lost after you read the title. Listen to this. Special 10-year anniversary DLC for ARK Survival Evolved. Let that one sink in. And the answer to your question is yes. That's the same game that was sacrificed on the altar of ARK to make way for Survival Ascended. That's the same game that continues to attract higher player counts now than Ascended, all through the love and passion of private servers and communities. And finally, yes, that's the same Evolved that cut off support for official servers, crushing players stuck on those servers as the lights went out. Now, for Snail Games, the reception they got for that very basic first trailer clearly wasn't enough, because with Snail, it's never enough. And so they decided to go full send and came out with a new trailer to better showcase Aquatica, resulting in the second most viewed trailer in the company's history. And this one's for all the wrong reasons. You see, Snail's second attempt at impressing fans, which outside of a few seconds of a survivor spawning in on the island, this entire thing is completely AI generated, even the voiceover. And we've seen some AI slop in the gaming community, but this trailer ranks up there as possibly one of the worst examples ever posted. There's feet morphing into flippers, a 6-arm octopus, 3 hands on a spear gun. I mean, the list goes on and on. Not to mention, somewhere in the basement at Snail Games, somebody took a look at this trailer and decided it was perfect and ready to release to the public. Since I have the API extension still enabled, you can see the damage for yourselves, and this has to be one of the worst upvote to downvote ratios in the history of game trailers. And in case you can't see it, that's 1,500 upvotes to over 57,000 downvotes. Mine, by the way, included in that 57K. Now, at one point, Snail actually removed the trailer from YouTube. That's right, they delisted it, probably because it was getting flamed. But in an equally baffling decision, they then decided to relist it without making any changes and still leaving the comments live as well. Now, clearly, this is AI at its absolute worst form. But earlier on, I did mention that we've now got AI defending AI. And here, just take a look at this comment, which looks out of place, right? To say the least. And one thing we've now got access to are sites like Grammarly, which has a free AI detection tool. And no, this video is not sponsored by Grammarly. But anyways, you can just copy and paste a comment in here, and it's going to analyze the wording and give you a percentage amount of how likely it thinks a statement is AI. And oh, look at that. It is 100% certain that is AI generated. So now we've got this AI slop trailer now being defended by AI bots with AI comments. Press pause on this part of the discussion for just a quick moment, because it's time to take a look at what's not so visible, to take a look below the surface, and to maybe do a bit of speculating. Starting off with this past roadmap released by Snail Games in one of their previous presentations. And you can see ARK Survival Ascended there in October 2023, but now take a look at June 2024. That says ARK DLC 6, a new canonical story expansion pack. DLC 6? Well, yeah, it would be number 6 after Scorched Earth, Aberration, Extinction, and Genesis Parts 1 and 2. The dates are completely wrong, which is par for the course with Snail and Wildcard, and you can also see ARK 2 and Project Hermes there in late 2024, both of which have not yet happened. But the question remains, was Aquatica to be the paid expansion number 6, or is it shown on the Ascended roadmap here in November 2024 as the surprise? The answer to that one is maybe. And thanks to ARK content creator GP, he did a little digging in the Aquatica Press Kit, and in the trash bin he found this. And we want to focus in on this a little bit here, where it says Aquatica is the special 10-year anniversary DLC for ARK Survival Evolved, initially releasing on PC and, listen to this last part, coming to ARK Survival Ascended later this year. Also, and I couldn't find the artwork for myself, but the original key art for Aquatica displayed next-gen consoles on it as well as PC. And remember that Survival Evolved was not on next-gen, further indicating that possibly, somewhere in Snail's hive mind, Aquatica was going to be this new canonical addition to the game. We now know that atrocious, which was originally slated to be sold as a premium mod, was actually bumped up and into place as this Survival Ascended surprise that shows on the roadmap, despite it being hastily done so, releasing only 30% complete. I'm now going to drop a straight theory here on my part, but maybe, just maybe, Studio Wildcard saw that Snail was about to ram Aquatica into the Survival Ascended timeline and ARK lore, and they, Wildcard, headed them off at the pass and instead dropped atrocious in front of Snail's charge to try to hold them off. Since the release of those Snail Games Aquatica trailers, we've seen the expansion listing on Steam changed from including Studio Wildcard to now only displaying Snail Games for developer and publisher, along with a statement and claims from lead developer at Snail Games Colorado, Matt Cole, that the development team had provided their marketing department with still images from the DLC, and they had no idea that marketing was making an AI-generated trailer from there.
Right.
And that's just 1 week in the life of the ARK franchise, but if I can for a moment, I'd like to air out some more theories, and again, this is me just speculating, but when I personally see hasty work like this, not only once, but twice, along with an announcement that Aquatica, the 10-year anniversary love letter to ARK fans, is a paid DLC only now coming to Survival Evolved, well, I instantly begin to think money problems. Remember, the official network was closed down 18 or so months ago for Survival Evolved, and here, Snail Games is attempting to rebuild that burned down bridge with Survival Evolved official players who have long since lost everything they ever built, and for many of those players, they've quit and now moved on. Any goodwill with that portion of the Survival Evolved community has long since been extinguished, and at this point, I believe that players know what to expect when it comes down to Snail Games. Also, and here's just another random thought that came to me, but who's going to maintain this official network when or if it ever comes online? Wildcard has already said they're out, so then the duties would, then fall to Snail Games? If so, are they going to provide troubleshooting when this new DLC breaks the game or nukes a player's mods? Based on the capabilities of Snail, so doubly confirmed in this trailer quality, I wouldn't expect Snail to lift a finger in customer support. And what about these official servers that are being opened up? Will these be again with Nitrado? And also for how long? Could you imagine if PC players paid for this map, they built up a community on official servers, only to have the rug pulled out from under them again? Right now, the Steam listing for Aquatica says that this is indeed releasing for Survival Evolved initially on PC. Initially is the key word there, which sounds like Snail might attempt to expand their offerings in the future, possibly even over to Survival Ascended. But as this story remains entirely fluid, I plan to keep tracking it for any movement and expect follow-up reports as they happen. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell. All my socials and links to today's sources can be found in the video description. And until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.